Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Tenbusch. I'm an investment manager with Magna International and an SAA board member and president of the SAA's Young Professionals Network. We are really excited today for a great discussion with Mike Wall, Executive Director of S&P Global Mobility. Mike, welcome.
Hi, Joe. Great to be here.
Mike, kind of to kick things off, let's have a quick discussion and see what is S&P Global's mobility outlook for vehicle sales.
Yeah, it's an interesting time in the industry to be sure. We're finally starting to see more inventory, more vehicles out on dealer lots. We're slowly but surely transitioning from sort of the supply constraints that have been visited on us the last 2 years or two plus years to now shifting towards more demand-driven fundamentals. So this year we're looking at 14.8 million units U.S. light vehicle sales. That's an improvement over last year of about 13.9 million. We still have a lot of road ahead of us to kind of claw our way back to kind of return to pre-COVID levels, which you may recall was closer to about 17.1 million units in 2019. But slowly but surely, we're starting to make that move. That's the good news. The challenges are we now need to rely on those demand fundamentals. We need to get consumers back into dealerships and with some of those challenging macroeconomic fundamentals like inflation and interest rates. We still have some work ahead of us.
Well, thanks, Mike. So kind of getting a little more granular, what's the outlook for electric vehicles? Is there a tipping point where EVs are becoming the norm and not the exception?
Yeah, boy, that's the topic of the day right now with all of these new EVs coming. And really that's part of the tale of the tape is getting more and more models in the hands of consumers to be able to get out to the dealerships and kick the tires. That tipping point, I think realistically is going to be more staged. I think 2025 and 2026 will be that first wave. And when we look out to 2025, I mean, we're sitting at around 17%. Is our expectation 17% penetration for EVs in U.S. light vehicle sales. So that's sort of that first stair step. Last year was roughly around 6%. So again, healthy growth, but then when we go up to 2030, that's sort of that next step. And we're looking at about 45, 46% take rate for EVs. And again, a lot of that's going to be born on model availability and then getting consumers comfortable with the idea of shifting from their traditional internal combustion engine to battery electric. Now I know Magna's been doing a lot in the battery electric space. What sort of things have you guys been working on that front?
Oh, thanks, Mike. As you mentioned, the EV sales are starting to increase, and we've done a lot to pivot into this space. I think probably at a high level, one of the more interesting points is in 2021, we entered a joint venture with LG for e-powertrain components. And then also we're expanding some of our more traditional product offerings and looking at battery enclosures, along with entering new markets. So we're even looking at battery swapping infrastructure for one of our investments in India, a bike share company called Yulu. So what do you see as some of the obstacles for EV adoption? Is range and the availability of EV charging infrastructure holding people back, or is it something else?
Those are two big factors to be sure. That range anxiety always is kind of top of mind when people are starting to make that transition from knowing about, there's a gas station on every corner and there's that comfort you can kind of rely on to how far will my battery get me if I'm going maybe across the state or I'm going for a longer drive. So that's a big factor in terms of that capacity of the battery, and then charging infrastructure, as you mentioned. We're tracking both of those areas actually very closely, and charging infrastructure is interesting. By 2030, we're expecting to see a pretty significant increase in chargers, growing close to about 2.5 million chargers in the U.S. alone. So there's a lot of investment going on there, and that is going to be really what helps to support that growth outlook we were talking about earlier in terms of adoption. Again, that's going to be a support mechanism to that adoption curve as well.
Oh, great insight, Mike. And where can our viewers and SAA members find more about the future of EVs?
Yeah, absolutely. We've dedicated a complete website, portion of our website towards EVs, where you can go to spglobal.com/EVs or click the QR code on the slide you'll see here, and you'll get a lot more information on EVs. We've got a widget that can track EV sales in 150 countries to give everyone kind of an idea of where that adoption, how that adoption curve is playing out at any given point in time.
No, thank you, Mike. Definitely a great discussion and look forward to hearing more from you in the near future. Thank you.
Thanks so much.